Now. Now.
Okay. I want to thank Carol for putting me on the program after Dr. Grew, because I knew this just wasn't going to work. As everyone has said tonight, everyone said everything I wanted to say, so I will be brief. When Jeff Walton was hired in 1979 as president of Tri-County Alcohol Council, since renamed Rushford Center, there was a young woman named Carolyn Shaw that was his secretary. Carolyn is sitting right behind Larry, next to my husband. I want to thank Lynn tonight for deciding to leave the job, thus giving me the opportunity to be hired. It's been my honor to work with Jeff for 30 of the 34 years that he has been with Rushford. The man we're celebrating tonight is trusted and well-respected, not just locally but nationally, which has been said before. I think that's the highest compliment anyone can receive. Jeff did not get this respect because of his title, but he earned it. His qualities as a human being endear him to everyone he meets. He's put those qualities into his work. Judy, stop crying. Assuring proper care for each and every client that ever walked through our doors. He built Tri-County Alcohol Council from a basement office on Pleasant Street in Middletown to a multi-site, multi-agency that has served so many people in need. On behalf of myself, current and former employees and clients, thank you, Jeff. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your leadership. Gus and Dorothea would be proud. And you should be very proud of what you've accomplished. All the best to you, Judy, and your beautiful family.
I've had the opportunity to meet Jeff's son before, and I was very, very impressed with him then, and I'm very impressed with him today. He's an outstanding young man. I know that his family is very proud of him. It gives me a great honor to introduce Jeremy, his son.
Hey everybody. So I'm the proud son. I also realize I'm the last to speak before the man himself. So when I realized that, there's only two things that really are important to keep it short and sweet. So I'll just share a little bit about my perspective, which is a little different than everybody else's around in the room. Growing up, I feel like I heard over and pretty often a conversation that went something like this around the dinner table. My dad sits down and says something like, "So I was asked to be the president or the committee leader or the leader of blank." And it's, fill in the blank. Rotary Club, associations, committees, national councils, so everything that's been said. And my mom would respond with something along the lines of, "Don't you have enough going on already?" And my dad would answer something like, "Probably, but they wouldn't have asked me if they didn't need my help." And some sort of harmless disagreement about taking on too much would ensue and would get resolved very quickly. Anyway, these dialogues sum up, to a certain extent who my dad is. And they also hint at some of the qualities that that I look up to most about him. From a fairly early age, I knew that I wanted to follow my father's, really, really big footsteps in terms of taking on leadership roles in the social service world. Just like my dad, I started out as a kind of a planner and a program developer, and moved into program management. What I didn't do, or haven't done yet anyway, was essentially take this fledgling company, that we've talked about, is in the basement of a building on Crescent Street, and in 30 years, basically make it one of the most well-respected social service agencies in the state. And I know we've heard that already, but at work in New York, at the Department of Ed, I find myself asking something along the lines of WWJD. And you all know now that we're Jewish, so I'm not talking about Jesus. I really think when I'm faced with hard decisions and making major, decisions about work and personal life, I find myself reflecting on the way my dad would handle himself, and the kind of decisions he would make. And that usually guides me in the right direction. And I usually, end up in the right place when I do that. And when it's all said and done, if I end up half as successful and half as respected as this man, I'll be more than happy. He's an inspiration not only to me, but to his 2 daughters and 3 grandsons. And so his legacy and spirit, won't only continue, through the fellowship and all the people in the room, but with this ever-growing family. I don't have a drink, but I'd like to propose a toast. And so, if everybody would just raise their glasses to the most wonderful man I've ever met and my eternal hero, Jeff Walter.
Well, how do you say anything else as far as to introduce an individual that was just said by his son? Those were tremendous remarks. To have your son and your family love you and honor you, have a great wife, and have the impact that you have had on thousands of people throughout our region. You are a true hero to so many of us as a dedicated, kind, wonderful man. I give you Jeff Walter.
One of the things that Larry was thinking about when he was talking so great about Jeremy was that Jeremy actually was a Xavier graduate. So I just want, for the record, for full disclosure. And yes, I do have something with nuns. There were 5, I think, nuns working at the same time. And I happened to mention it offhandedly to my mother one day, and she was just, I thought that she would say something about our Judaism or something, and she said, well, why not? It just goes without saying. So you've heard Barry Kazan is in the room, I think somewhere, and we celebrated, Barry celebrated Barry's great career in retirement last week from Bridges down in Milford, and Barry got up and he did this. He said, right, you did this, Barry. He said, well, now, you know, there goes my speech. There goes my speech. So you've heard about my inauspicious beginnings, and Lynn, it's so great to have you here. Lynn came up to me tonight and said that one of the first things I said to Lynn was that I expected to be at Tri-County for 20 years. And I don't remember that, and I'm not saying that I didn't say it. But I will say that I did expect to be a CEO. But I had in my mind what a CEO was, and I was 28 years old, and my ambition really was to run an organization, and I was thrilled to have the opportunity in Tri-County. But I had a vision of what a CEO is. And so what I expected when I arrived at Tri-County that first day on November 12th, 1979, and I walked down the steps to the office, and some of you have heard the story, so I apologize, but Lynn met me. She was sitting at the desk right near the door, and we chatted for a while, and I said to Lynn, well, Lynn, this has been great. How about if you introduce me to the rest of the staff? And Lynn said, I am the staff, and I'm the new. So I thought that when you become a CEO, you have staff, you have programs, you have facilities, you have a budget.
Corner office.
And you have, well, I don't know, you have an office. At least you have an office that doesn't coexist with the plumbing for Middlesex Hospital across the street, in the basement at Crescent Street. Well, I'm just overwhelmed, and I think it's been, everything's been said. So I want to say a few things about what comes out of the inauspicious beginning, which has really been my guiding, I guess, philosophy or principle or spirit for all of my career, which is that there's opportunity in everything, and so. That was what Tri-County started as, is opportunity. I went into the community and, again, the inauspicious beginning. Cold shoulders, who are you? Your organization really hasn't been very good the last few years. I've had unbelievable opportunities, and it's because of people. And so the second thing is relationships. That's the hallmark of success to me. It's really the most important thing, it seems to me. It's something that if you don't have the relationships, you can't really do much else. And so I've just been blessed and honored really to have some of the most wonderful relationships in every facet of my life. And the Middletown community is a wonderful, wonderful community. But communities are wonderful things. I don't care where it is. So when we moved our headquarters to Meriden, and I grieved really. I felt terrible about leaving Middletown, and the Silver Street staff grieved about having their leaders move to Meriden. It was a difficult time, and I didn't find Meriden to be like Middletown. Very different communities. But you know what? I started enjoying Meriden and building relationships there. It's just what you do. So I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've had and the chance that I've had to, really to make a difference in people's lives, to contribute something to our field. It's an honor and a privilege, it seems to me, to be able to do that. I'm proud to have built an organization that has really made a difference in so many people's lives. One of the, it's really, I don't want to sound like, I'm very grateful for all the kind words that have been said about me, and it's really overwhelming. But truly, truly, the most important things that have given me the most you know, positive feelings in my heart is when someone says to me in any gathering, it's happened here tonight, that our organization touched the life of somebody in their family or somebody they know, or if I see somebody, and this happens all the time, everywhere I go. Yes, I was at Rushford many years ago, and you people saved my life. It happens all the time, and I know that we don't have only success stories. I know that, but I have to tell you that there's no feeling in my career that's better than that feeling. It's just, and it's just been very, very gratifying. Well, so many things have been said. There have been two women, really 3 women. There have been women, let's put it this way. Not the way you're thinking. There have been women in my life that have to be recognized. And they, it's been spoken about today. And there's 2 women, there's Judy, my wife, and there's Sandy, and both of them have this uncanny ability to read my mind, which is really very frightening. And Sandy and Judy are very different people, of course, everybody's different. Sandy I'm really impressed that you came up here. When I saw you on the program, I thought it was a typo. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you for many things, but I'm proud of you for coming up here, and I thank you so much for your words. And your feelings. But it is a strange thing that, Sandy, we don't really, over 30 years, we really haven't talked that much. We don't really, we didn't sit around talking. But somehow, the craziest thing is that you would anticipate everything that I ever needed or would be thinking about before I thought it. So I'm really not sure why I'm up here, and I'm not really sure why I was the CEO, because you probably I was going to say you could have run the organization. You did run the organization. So seriously, she is now. Steve knows well now. But seriously, I've been the face of Rushford, but you've really been the glue that has kept the organization together all these years. So Rushford has been my passion. It's been my lodestone around my neck. But it's been my passion. But my family is my soul. So I'm so proud of you, Jeremy. I'm proud of Melissa and Holly, my daughters, and my 3 grandsons that are here. When I got into the addiction field, I didn't know much about it, and addiction hadn't touched my life at that time. The way I got into this really was that back in Northeast Connecticut, my boss, I was a program developer. My boss he pulled me into his office one day and he said, there's a couple of people that approached me, my boss said, and they want to start a halfway house for alcoholics, and I want you to go and help them out. That's what it was. And it was a couple of guys from an AA group, and they wanted to start a halfway house. And we started a halfway house in the only town in Northeast Connecticut that didn't have zoning. We got ran out of every other town. I love those guys. They were just the salt of the earth. They were wonderful people, and I learned about the disease of alcoholism to be able to do that. And so when I saw the opportunity for Tri-County Alcohol Council, it wasn't to have a career in it. I wanted to run a small organization. But, life is just a funny thing, isn't it? addiction has touched my family and my life in many ways over the years, as it is everybody. And so I had, this was something that I guess I was brought to do, as well as a career move, kind of up the ladder career move in nonprofit management. I thought I was getting, just doing it for the management experience, but it became my life. So as has been said, many of you know, many of you knew my sister Carol. She passed recently. I'm really happy that Deb was here tonight, partner. And my uncle and aunt and cousins are here. Larry, I want to thank you for doing this, but really, everybody knows you and respects you, and I'm one of the many people, but I know what you've meant to my organization and to me personally. And one of my great pleasures was to be involved with the Chamber, but more importantly, to be able to be with you. I want to thank Carol Vassar. People take care of me, and you're one of them, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Paula Snedeker, I don't know if Paula's in the room. Paula, there you are. Thank you, Paula, for putting this event together. And I want to kind of close by thanking the organization for certainly for naming a building after me, Silver Street. The story of Silver Street is a whole other speech. And there's so many people that made that possible, and there's so many people that thought I was crazy and that we would fail. We would fail with Silver Street. But some of the same people also helped me to make it a success in the community. I mean, business people. But to name the ABM Fellowship Fund in my name is certainly an honor, but it's a special thing because I really believe in this, and I want to thank the organization for doing that. I'm very proud to have been a part of bringing that prestigious academic program to Rushford. Like many things, maybe all things, people have been talking about my vision. And I do like to think of myself as a vision guy. I do, I have to admit. But you know what? I haven't had a lot of original ideas. I really haven't. That's not, I'm not a visionary that way. But I know a good idea when I see one. And then I have been able to make some of those ideas become reality and to play it out over time in the future. And this is the one that I think is a capstone for me at Rushford. My retirement from Rushford, this has been said, maybe it's trite, I guess it says it, every retirement speech that does it, I say it anyway. It's a beginning of a new chapter for me in my life. Even as I close this one, I move on. And while I look forward to having more time to enjoy myself and my family, I still have a little fire in the belly. I really do. There's still some things that I'd like to accomplish professionally in my life. There's still some things that I'd like to give, and I still want to make an impact somewhere. And I know, I'm just so, I really appreciate all the folks that have spoken tonight, and that you have confidence that I can continue to do that. It really means a lot to me. I'm truly humbled by this, and honored and grateful to all of you. You all every person in this room means so much to me, and it has been so much to me in my life, and I thank you so much for being here tonight.
In closing, I want to wish everyone a safe trip home. But I would like to close with a quote from Thomas Paine, which was made in 1894. I love the man that can smile in trouble, that can gather strength from distress, and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, but he whose heart is firm and whose conscience approves his conduct will pursue his principles unto death. That is Jeff Walter. Sing.